This program is made possible by American Senior Benefits Wichita is all about your peace of mind. We specialize in asset protecting, safeguarding your health, planning your estate, and preserving your freedom of choice. We're here to work through all of this with you. American Senior Benefits Wichita proudly supports PBS Kansas. The Candle Club, a place where friends, food, and music come together. Currently, we offer live entertainment every night except Sundays. Enjoy our delicious specialty appetizers and the Candle Club Signature Prime Rib. More about upcoming events at candleclubwichita.com. Home Health and Hospice of Kansas is a locally owned and community-based provider. We offer quality health care to our patients and families, complete with love, warmth, and compassion. We'll take care of all of the details for you. More information at kansashomehealth.com. Welcome to Cedric Plaza Retirement Community. Our living options are designed to suit your specific needs and activities that you're sure to love. We believe you'll be able to see yourself here, enjoying time with friends and family. For more information, cedricplaza.org.
Welcome to Empowering Seniors. I'm your host, Katherine Ambrose. Today we are at the Museum of World Treasures, and I'm with the Programs Director, Kristing Martin. Kristing, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So we're here today because you have a senior program that's ongoing, and the topic today caught the attention of some Red Hat ladies, and so they reached out and said, you should come out and see the museum. How long has this museum been here?
So we have been in this building since 2003. The museum has been in existence since 2001. So in 2001, it moved into the Garvey Center here in downtown Wichita, the basement of it known as the Kiva, and there it was known as the Museum of Ancient Treasures. More of the stuff there was ancient. It moved here in 2003 because our founders got some dinosaurs and they needed space to put up dinosaurs, so that's how we got here.
And who are the founders?
Our founders are Dr. John and Lorna Kardatsky. Dr. John had an early interest in historical artifacts. Growing up, his parents took him to Jerusalem and to Egypt, and in his own words, he got hooked. So there he bought his first Herod the Great coin. That's the thing he said got him started on collecting. We have that here in our collection today. And ever since then, he's collected thousands of items. In 1997, maybe any folks who are from Wichita may remember the big Halloween flood. It almost flooded the basement of Dr. John and Lorna's house. They had to get everybody to help them take their stuff out. And after that, Lorna, long-suffering wife that she was, said, get this stuff out and start a museum. So Dr. John did a temporary exhibit at Century 2 here in town. And then after that is when he began at the Garvey Center.
Can you tell us a little bit about your mission?
Yes, so our mission is to educate, entertain, and inspire lifelong learning. So we do a lot of things here, from educating kids and school tours to doing, just last week we had our Spooky Night of Treasures, where we did spooky, scary skits based on history so people could learn and have fun at the same time. So we really like mixing all of those things together.
The senior programs, tell us about that.
Yeah, so we have two primary senior programs. The one we just experienced, the Senior Wednesday program, that happens every second Wednesday here at 1:30. And then we have our Coffee with the Curator program, which happens third Thursdays at 9 o'clock. And then Senior Wednesday is actually part of a larger Wichita coalition that hosts things every Wednesday, and that involved in that is our zoo, our art museum, the library. It's really just a great program.
That is very cool. So all these different venues, organizations work together to put these programs together for seniors. Fantastic. And I think that's a great introduction maybe for seniors to the museum, and have more an intimate relationship, and then bring maybe the grandkids and great-grandkids to the museum.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my very favorite things about kind of the museum and how it can be utilized by parents and grandparents is it is a fantastic way to start great conversations with your kids. I can't tell you how many times I walk through the exhibits and there's a grandparent, maybe in the World War II exhibit, and they'll be saying, okay, when I was little, we had to save up all of our stamps to get sugar so that we could have a birthday cake, and all of the kids are, oh my gosh, birthday cake, no cake. So it really serves as a great bonding tool for grandparents and for parents.
How have you collected the items? How many items do you have in the museum?
Yeah, so right now we're around 9,000 items. About 75% of those are owned by the museum, so by our non-for-profit, and then about 25% are on loan. These have been collected over the years. Quite a few are from our co-founders, the Kardatskys, but then we have a lot more that have been either donated or on loan from specific individuals, so it's quite a mix.
Is it mostly locals or Kansans that are donating these items?
Yeah, usually. So it's a lot of folks who, will say, oh my goodness, I've got my dad's Ike jacket from World War II in the closet. I think this deserves to be seen. And they'll approach us, and we have a committee that discusses how it would fit into our educational mission and if it's something we can display well. And that's how we bring these things together.
Talking about how people might have things in their home that they've hung on to for a long time. What kind of tips do you have for people about items in their house and what the value might be or what to do with those things?
Yeah. So we see a lot of folks who are dealing with items that maybe they've inherited or they've collected through the years, and they want to make sure they stay safe. And we see a lot of maybe the problems that people will run into. So a big one is, knowing what it is, obviously, and then also taking care of making sure it's stored correctly. So there are really good resources that you can find for free online that talk about how to take care of different things. My favorite is from AIC, and they will provide different sheets telling you, okay, if you have home videotapes, how are you going to take care of those? And they'll tell you cheap and efficient ways to do that. Another important thing to think about is, do your kids know who they're going to go to if it's really valuable? Is it in your will? Something we see a lot is people who maybe haven't thought about these things in advance, and it can be a little difficult. So it is something to keep in mind. I did bring an item to talk about that used to be in someone's home. This is one of my very favorite items, but a thing that makes me sad about it is the person who had this, maybe didn't make the best choices on taking care of it. So this is a sheet of Gregorian chant on parchment paper, over 500 years old, absolutely beautiful, handwritten, but you can see at the bottom here, it's been cut off, so somebody cut it to fit it inside of a frame. And then on the top here, you can actually see where it was scotch taped into the frame. So when dealing with older items, avoid the scotch tape. But this is one of my very favorite items in the whole collection.
That is really cool. Do you know how they came to own that?
I do not, actually. So a lot of these items, well, first of all, there's so many, it's hard to know the history of all of them. But a lot of times we, just don't know a whole lot of things about them. So it makes it really important for us to do a lot of research and preservation, which actually brings me to another item over here.
Okay.
So the one on my far right here is a skull of a Psittacosaurus. The Psittacosaurus is an early ancestor to the Triceratops. So we're talking over 100 million years old. This is a skull that, when it came to us, was not fully cleaned out. It still has rocks inside of it. So one of the things our collections manager, Jordan, has been doing is cleaning on that. And in the process of cleaning, she actually discovered 2 more vertebrae lodged inside of the rocks there. So we're really excited about the work we're able to do to take care of these important fossils.
And how does someone come across something like that?
Yeah, that is a really good question. So for a lot of the fossils in our collections, they've been found by paleontologists who know what they're doing and go looking, and then perhaps a collector is approached or approaches those paleontologists and will purchase those and then donate those items to the museum so they can be used for education and research.
Very good. And what is this item?
Yeah, so this item I actually brought in to kind of give an example of Dr. John and Lorna's collection. This is on loan from them, and it is a canopic jar. So I think a lot of us remember from grade school when someone is mummified, they have their organs taken out, and they're put into 4 different canopic jars. Well, the thing that kind of caught a lot of us off guard about this particular canopic jar is it's not like all of the others. We think that the canopic jars are for putting organs inside of. Well, it's kind of hard to put an organ inside of a jar when it is not hollow. Which, when we first saw it, we're like, oh no, is this item actually real? It is 100% real. This was made in the later eras of Egyptian mummification, and it was at a time when they would take the person's organs out, mummify the organs separately, and put them back inside of the person for when they were mummified. But they still wanted to keep to that tradition. So they still had the canopic jars, they just maybe were not useful.
Okay, they were just for show?
Just for show, yeah. So this item is at least 2,000 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And this looks a little newer.
Yeah, this looks a little newer. Yeah, so I brought this because I like to talk about one of the ways we interact with seniors a lot is veterans. We have many veterans who are volunteers here who love working with our collection. And we've also hosted reunions of volunteers here. One of the most important and most touching events we've ever had was in 2019. We had Colonel Gail Halverson, who's known as the Candy Bomber. He was here in town and he was able to visit with us. And some of our volunteers were involved with that. Also, some of our volunteers have shared not only their time and their stories, but also their items. So this right here is from one of our longtime volunteers, Ron Bogard, who was an aerial photographer in the Vietnam War. So it's really cool that he's been able to be here and be involved and share his stories with kids, but also that we can have his items.
Volunteering is a great way to stay busy and really get engaged in a deeper way in the community. And so how many volunteers do you have, would you say?
That's a good question. It kind of varies, especially some of them will put in a little bit of time here and there, and some are more active. I'd say probably 30. Give or take. It's a really great way to stay active. I think one of the most popular things to do is give tours. You know, get you up on your feet for a few hours, allows you to interact with people and share your knowledge. But we also have behind the scenes things like helping us inventory our items or take photos. So really just lots of cool opportunities. Working at a museum is fun.
For sure. Well, and then they really get an education so that they can put on the tours.
Yes, absolutely. So we do provide a manual and shadowing opportunities and one-on-one work so they can learn about all of these cool things here. When I first started giving tours, I thought it was going to be just really, really hard to learn, and it's not. You get so interested in it that you don't care that it's a lot of work to learn. It's just so fun.
What are some other things that you've done that might appeal to different groups that maybe grandparents might think, oh, that might be a good thing to take the kids to?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as kids events, one of the big ones we do is during spring break. We always will do something during spring break. So usually it's something where you can come in and you can make crafts or handle items or play games, whatever. We also have our summer camps. So every year we do at least 1 or 2 summer camps, and usually a Harry Potter themed one. Those always go well, but it's not all just fun. We learn important things during the Harry Potter camp. We also did a spy themed camp this last year, so we really enjoy those. And then for any larger groups, if you have a scout group or a school group or a church group, I think my very, very favorite thing you can do here is an overnight. So we actually allow people to book an overnight camp in and literally put their sleeping bags out in front of the dinosaurs. And I mean, I'm a big kid and I enjoy that. And I can't imagine how much fun it must be for kids. So.
We're here with Kaysey Richardson. She's the marketing coordinator for the Museum of World Treasures. Welcome, Kaysey.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So the program today was great, and you got to be the presenter.
Yes, I did.
It was terrific. Tell us about the other program. There's Coffee with the Curator. So what is that?
So similar to what you guys saw with Senior Wednesday, we do an additional discussion every third Thursday of the month. So our Coffee with the Curator happens from 9 to 10 a.m. We do different lectures, similar again to like what you saw with Senior Wednesday. We don't really have like a difference in who's going to come. It's kind of just a surprise every time. Sometimes we'll try to do things that are coordinated with seasons. Our last Coffee with the Curator was super entertaining. It was comparing witchcraft to conspiracy for Halloween. So sometimes it'll be kind of fun things like that. Coffee with the Curator is not the creator of the museum. You don't actually even have to be a curator to be a lecturer that's featured. We have oftentimes professors from Wichita State that will be there to give a lecture kind of about what their topic of what their topics are for school. Sometimes we just have people that are really passionate about something. A few months ago, we had one about the history of bagpipe music. So when I tell you it's very random, it can be any topic in any history or science. Just a fun way to engage with the community and really learn about other people's passions.
How does Coffee with the Curator help you connect with members or prospective members?
I would say that this is a great way to get new people in and additionally continue our member, like for the people who have been our members, it's just a great way for them to get kind of more involved with what we're doing. Like I said before, it's kind of also a great way just to like engage with our community. My favorite part about both the Senior Wednesday and about Coffee with the Curator is just getting so much diversity in, because you can literally talk about anything and anything that you're passionate about. And so you just get to see all different sorts of perspectives, all different sorts of people, all for us to just come together, be unbiased against each other, and just learn something new.
I noticed during the program that people were really engaged and there was an opportunity to ask questions and share stories and a lot of engagement at the tables too. Is that what you usually see?
Yes, and usually I'm actually not the presenter, so I get to see this as someone viewing it, and that is one of my favorite parts. Is I love seeing the wheels turning in people's minds and seeing them nodding and just being so engaged in what people are discussing and just being open-minded to learning new things and new perspectives of things, because as you could see this last time, I mean, a lot of our topics are a new perspective, and I love that. And I love the fact that people are willing to ask questions and get engaged and involved, and I encourage for everybody to come with a question. It makes it more fun for everyone.
It certainly does. And you really can draw out a lot of new information out of the presenter too by just asking a couple extra questions.
Absolutely, and that was something that I was very nervous about doing, that presentation, and I actually really loved it. I mean, because I love seeing what I said, you know, I love seeing somebody that like take a memory in their head and be like, oh, well, you mentioned this, so can you tell me about that? And I just like seeing that sort of like cognitive memory, I guess, like to like what they're interested in.
Mm-hmm. And just making it more of a two-way conversation, and really gives the presenter a chance to share even more.
Definitely.
So it makes it more fun for everybody.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Kind of an ongoing theme that we have also is just getting out of the house is so important.
Yes.
Having new people to talk to, new things to think about. It really helps with cognitive health and physical health, just getting out and having to go out in the weather and travel.
Absolutely.
And certainly you have a lot of interesting things for people to see here. What drew you into a job with the museum?
So I am just finishing up my master's program at Wichita State University for local and community history. So I've been passionate since I was a very young adult on local history. And this has just been a great way for me to put that passion in with what I'm doing for the museum with community outreach. I work a lot like with our development director with getting partnerships and building sponsorships. And additionally, I get to talk about history all the time, which is what I love. So it's kind of like this combination of my love for my community and my love for history just kind of coming together.
Did your grandparents take you to museums and do things like that with you?
Yeah, so that's actually what got me passionate. Is my Nana, every spring break we used to go to different museums when I was younger, and the very first one that really affected me was the Oklahoma City Bombing Museum, and that just really opened my eyes to this perspective that sometimes you're not going to a museum to, you know, be happy about the past, but it's still important to learn about the past, which I think is like what I'm really passionate about, is just that educating your community about these things that we've gone through together, and just keeping that memory of like these things and these people alive.
Mm-hmm. and creating memories together
Yes.
by learning together.
Exactly.
And your Nana was here today for your presentation.
She was here today, and that was just a whole full circle for me. It's so great that I have that support and that she comes to everything here. I love it, and she's the one that got me into this, so.
So you've made this a fun day for us, and thank you so much, Kaysey, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Kristin, I love all this history. Tell us a little bit about the exhibits you have here.
Yeah, we have all sorts of different history. We have 3 different floors filled with exhibits. When people come in here, they always know that they can find something that will interest them. So one of the large sections we have is dinosaurs and fossils. We have Ivan the T-Rex. He's kind of our star around here. We have items from Kansas, including Logan the Tylosaurus. Another really popular exhibit is our Egypt exhibit, which has 2 real Egyptian mummies. On our second floor, we have a lot of military history, so World War I, World War II, Civil War, and more. And that's where I think when we work with those, it is so interesting because everyone has their stories. One of the big things I learned as a tour guide is when I'm telling certain parts of history, there's not going to be anyone in the room who can tell me about it. No one is going to be able to tell me what it was like to live in ancient Egypt. But when I'm trying to give a tour about the Berlin Wall to a senior group, my favorite thing to do is say, I'm not the tour guide anymore. I didn't live through that. And I think that just brings out something so important that goes beyond your visit to the museum, right? Taking time to think about, okay, what history have we lived through? I know for me, because of my work here, I've started conducting interviews with my grandparents to catch their history and get their thoughts on things. So I think it's really important for all of us to go through to say, how am I saving my own stories for my family? And that is just one of my favorite things that I've learned in my time here at the museum.
I love that you mentioned that. That's a recurring topic that we have with the Empowered Senior program and the Empowering Seniors television show is talking about sharing your history and preserving those stories for the future. It is important and such a great way to engage. And sometimes kids and adults maybe aren't ready to hear some of that and preserving it for them, so when they're looking for that information later or that connection later, that you have left something for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also I like that sometimes it can be a starting place on difficult topics or topics that kids maybe don't hear about or don't want to hear about. So on our second floor we have, it's very somber to see, but we have a large Nazi flag on the wall. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times kids will come in for tours and all they'll know is it's a swastika, or they'll say, oh, Nazi, but they won't know anything about it. What we've started doing is every time these kids come through, we'll take them by and we'll have a whole discussion. What is this? How old is it? Why are people so sensitive about it? Why this is serious and this is not a joke? And I might even only have them 5 minutes in front of that flag, but I've laid the groundwork so that when a teacher gets there or next time they see it, they're now intrigued to learn more about history and not just confused. Mm-hmm. So that is one of my favorite ways to use the museum here to teach.
And I suppose we should mention where we're sitting.
Yes.
These are made from marble.
Yes.
And you're not sure how old they are?
Not exactly, no. And we're not always sure exactly where they come from either. But we are in our Asia exhibit, so we have a variety of different marble Buddhas. This one is more ornamental, more decorated, as you can see. But out in front of us we have a laughing Buddha and some different praying Buddhas and even some monks as well. So really a gorgeous exhibit to be sitting in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, a lot of work.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And very heavy.
Very heavy, yes.
So, well, it makes for a great backdrop for the show. We have so enjoyed our visit today. Thank you for your time and your knowledge and just the background on the museum. And I feel like it's been a great encouragement to our audience to get engaged in the community and explore something new or to revisit the museum here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We really enjoyed it.
It was our pleasure, and thank you, Kristin, for being on the show.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching. I'm your host, Katherine Ambrose, and if you have questions about this topic or any of the topics that we cover, you can reach out to us at 316-686-4500 or at empoweringseniors@kpts.org. Until next time, this is Empowering Seniors.
This program is made possible by American Senior Benefits Wichita is all about your peace of mind. We specialize in asset protecting, safeguarding your health, planning your estate, and preserving your freedom of choice. We're here to work through all of this with you. American Senior Benefits Wichita proudly supports PBS Kansas. The Candle Club, a place where friends, food, and music come together. Currently, we offer live entertainment every night except Sundays. Enjoy our delicious specialty appetizers and the Candle Club Signature Prime Rib. More about upcoming events at candleclubwichita.com. Home Health and Hospice of Kansas is a locally owned and community-based provider. We offer quality health care to our patients and families, complete with love, warmth, and compassion. We'll take care of all of the details for you. More information at kansashomehealth.com. Welcome to Cedric Plaza Retirement Community. Our living options are designed to suit your specific needs and activities that you're sure to love. We believe you'll be able to see yourself here, enjoying time with friends and family. For more information, cedricplaza.org.